Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to see you again. I'm hoping that you're having a wonderful week, and I hope you enjoyed your spring break. And now we're back in the saddle again, getting some more work done for our lab course. All right, so this module here is module 10, and we are working with the financial projection plan. I do have that right. Module 10, yes. Okay, so I want to go ahead and share the screen so you can see how I'm making this work for you. All right, so here we are. We have an overview here that just explains what this assignment is all about. It is projected to be a 3-year financial plan or pro forma analysis. And we're going to go through the details on this. Incidentally, this plan, let me just take a look here now, is expected to be take you about 7 hours to do, and that's fairly on target. And the suggested work dates are March 16th to March 22nd. So let's go ahead and get started. I have several key tools and resources here for you. The first item is a slide deck that goes into the financial projection plan. Now, this slide deck is something you can read and walk yourself through. If there's anything confusing, please reach out to me. I'm happy to help you. But I don't think you need me to actually narrate it for you. I think you'll be able to go in it and associate items in the slide deck with your own business. And I think in a way that might even be more beneficial for you because you'll be thinking more in depth rather than just listening to me talk about it. The next item is an example for this assignment, which I love examples, and I know a lot of students love examples too, to use an example as a model for you to move forward. I do have a template here. You don't have to use this template. I will show it to you really briefly here. So this is what it looks like. It's an income statement. It has the revenue information on top, and then it has the expenses on the bottom. Now you can use this if you like it, if it's more appropriate for your particular business, or you can use the example that I have here, and I will show that. It is a Word doc, so you can just kind of copy and paste that into your own document. But of course, you want to change the numbers so that they work for your business and not the Fit Journey business. And then we have some AI prompts to help you. So let's just go ahead and take a look at that example so I can do this side by side. So when we look at the examples, now here is that table I spoke of. This is maybe a little bit cleaner looking, so you may want to use this instead. We have the revenue and the gross profit on the top section, and then we have our operating expenses on the bottom. Now, let me just talk about this for a moment. The operating expenses are actually also considered fixed costs. And what they are is like if you think about monthly expenses that you would incur, whether you have a sale or not. And that's really important to think about it that way, like rent, like salaries for full-time employees, even part-time employees, maybe insurance costs, licensing, marketing, that sort of thing. Costs that you will have no matter what. And then when you think of costs of goods sold, also called COGS, you think about specific costs that are associated with the sale. Now, for example, let's say that we have a wine bottling company and we purchase grapes. We have barrels for those grapes, and the more wine we sell, the more barrels we need for those grapes. We have to purchase bottles and corks and boxes to ship the wine. All right, so now we have that. There are other things, but this is the main bulk of it. So you get the idea. Now, if we have no sales, well, then we don't buy those items, right? So if you think along those lines, there are always costs associated with the sale. So even if we sell one box of wine, we still need the box. We need the 12 bottles. We need the wine. We need the corks. We need a label. We need all those things. So those are all COGS or costs of goods sold. All right. So now, once we have that down, then we go ahead and look at what are we actually doing in this assignment? We have five different tasks, and tasks one, two, and three are all associated with the income statement. It's called the income statement, and we will look at our revenue projections. We're going to think about, and here are some notes that we've written to ourselves about how we will progress throughout the 3 years. We are following some outlined projections to obtain $200,000 in revenue the first year. We jump to 500 the sixth year, second year, and then $1 million the third year. That's our $1 million projection as from the slide deck. Okay, so now we want to think about, well, what are our costs of goods going to be for that? And so we write down for our key assumptions, we need to include information that relates to that. Where are we getting that information from? Oftentimes we look at industry information and other information to know how we can how do we increase our expenses to match our income. So in this, you can see here, if we jump from we have $2,000, $200,000 in revenue the first year, 500 the second year. So wouldn't it seem like this cost of goods should be much more? And then when we go to, if it were to match what we have, which is 50% of our uh, revenue. So here for 500, we think, oh, that should be 250. No, and I'll tell you why. And then the next one, if we go to $1 million in sale, well, why isn't it 500,000, 50%? Because as we grow, and if we're using the bottling wine example, as we grow and sell more, we're able to buy more in bulk. Okay, so we have economies of scale that come to play because now instead of just buying maybe 25 or 50 cases of wine, we go to 500 cases of wine. And here we go to, maybe 1,000, 2,000 cases of wine. So because we're buying larger amounts of the bottles and our other supplies that we need, then the supplier will charge us less when we buy more. So that's economies of scale. So we can manage that throughout this process. So we know that our expenses will go down a little bit. I mean, of course, they're going to increase, but they're not going to increase at the same rate. All right. And then we also want to think about as we are growing, our monthly expenses are going to grow as well. Perhaps we outgrow our manufacturing facility and we need to double our size and we're charged double the rent and so forth and so on. So we need to take everything into consideration as we are estimating this pro forma or projections for our finances. And we want to make these assumptions and outline the assumptions here. Then we go down to task 4, the growth hack plan, and we want to break down our phases. In this example here with Fit Journey, we have months 1 to 3, and what is being done during that time period to make this income statement make sense. Okay, so that's what we're doing here. And then phase 2 is from months 4 to 9. Now, you may have totally different phase periods. Your first phase may be 6 months or 9 months or a year, whatever it may be. You decide what works for you, but it's typically you want to find a section of time where you're doing a certain amount of work and you want to think about what you'll be doing during that time period and how you will manage your finances during that time. And then once you move into another area, in this case, 4 to 9 months, what will happen then? So you want to document that information. Now, one thing I just want to say about this is that I've had 4 of my own businesses, and every business I've done this, and I find it so incredibly helpful to document this information and review it because It helps me to achieve my goals for one. I think that's incredibly important. And if you don't have it written down, well, chances are you're just kind of winging it and moving along, and you may not be able to reach those goals. Chances are you won't. So, but having it in writing and then adjusting it as you move along is very powerful. All right, so now the last part, task 5, we're going to ask AI from assistance. And now, when I was running my businesses, I didn't have AI, but I think AI is very powerful and can help business owners in as they are creating this pro forma analysis. And so, what we're going to do, and I'm going to recommend Claude because Claude has a very good financial element to it. So, I'm going to suggest you use Claude and see. Put in your information. I have the prompts in here, up here, so you have your AI prompts ready to go. And then you want to have a conversation with Claude back and forth and keep the same thread, have the conversation flowing back and forth. Claude will make recommendations, and then you will maybe question those recommendations, or you may have additional questions to ask, but keep that thread alive and moving forward. And then I want you to include the link to your threaded discussion with Claude at the end of the assignment. Here, I just have the word link in here because this is just an example, but I want you to include that link that you had with Claude here. And it's also something good for you to reflect on as well. All right, but you'll have it in your reports to be able to reflect whenever you'd like. All right. So we went over everything here for the deliverables, what you'll need to do. You can use the template that's provided in there, or you can just copy and paste this entire, just go ahead and click the box there, copy, paste it into your own, change the numbers, make them accurate for yourself. All right. And then you want to, your growth hack, this happens to be 2 pages. 2 pages, fine, 2 to 3 pages, that'd be fine. Include the key assumptions. That was because that's really important to include that. And then your AI summary. Here you've just summarized the information and then you include the link. And here are some tips for success. So I am very excited to see your financial projections and pro forma analysis. And if you have any concerns, any questions at all, please reach out to me through Canvas inbox. You can call me if you'd like to speak with me, but it would be better to just alert me through Canvas, and then that way we can set up a time to have a telephone conversation, or we can have a Zoom meeting. So thank you so much, and I can't wait to see your results.